You know, it's funny, as you work on these old cars, you learn more about them and more about the quirks and the oddities of them. And you can read and research all you want, but you still continue to learn things about these. Case in point, you can see axle's down, straps are hanging, and the tank is out. Why is that? Well, because as I mentioned before, using this car, the issue I was having was that the fuel gauge was not working. And now you can see that the fuel gauge is going full. And the reason for that is because at the back of the car, I don't know if you can see it, right up there is that plug. And that plug is what plugs into the fuel sender. And I thought, well, you know, this car was fuel injected, so maybe they're doing something funky with the fuel injection on this to make it not be requiring a fuel pump anymore. So as you can see here, I have the tank pulled out, and as you can see here, I got the fuel sending unit. Well, I wonder why the fuel sender wasn't working. I mean, is there electronics in there? What's in there? I don't know. It's in really bad shape. And the other problem is that with the sending unit, I really have no idea if this is the original one to this car or not, or if it's an after version, or someone found one to put in this. And the reason I say that for is because if you look at the current or look at the options available to put a fuel sending unit back in this, you find out that the only option that you can currently buy for this car is that which is one for or has a fuel pump on it. And since my car is now carbureted, I'm not going to use a fuel pump, so I need to come up with the means for that. And on top of that, when you look inside, you can just see how rusty it is in there and how bad a shape this tank is in. So for this car, it's going to need a new fuel tank, and the fuel sending unit needs to be replaced as well. Now the fuel sending unit for this car that says it fits in this tank is about $160 Canadian. And frankly, for a fuel sending unit that I may not use or work for this, I don't feel like spending $160. Considering the fuel tank on this thing, I think is 200 and change or something. I don't remember as I last looked. So because I don't know specifically what fuel sending unit I will be using or needing, this currently has about a couple of gallons of fuel in it, if that. But unfortunately, because the fill is at the top here, and inside the tank, you can see right there, this white piece is where it flows into the tank. I can't get the fuel out, and I need to get the fuel out. So what I'm going to do is on probably this side, down at the bottom, over here, I'm probably going to punch a hole through here. Then that way I can drain the fuel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a big chunk out of this so that I can put a sending unit in, and I can see specifically what's going on with this. So get you guys set up on a tripod. We're going to put a hole in the tank, we're going to drain the fuel, and then we're going to cut it open. And on top of that, this is probably going to be a two-part video. The first part is going to just basically be me getting the tank emptied, the tank opened, the fuel sending unit in it, and just kind of seeing where things sit. The second one will be basically the new tank, the new sending unit, or just the new sending unit itself. And once I get the new sending unit, then I can put it into this old tank and see how the float and everything will work. And if the float works properly in this tank with the fuel sending unit that I think I want to buy, then I'll buy the tank and get everything installed and put it back in the car. But for now, I'm going to get some stuff together, get you guys on a tripod, and then I will show you guys what I'm about to do. Warning, there is still some fuel in that tank, and there will be vapors in that tank, so I'm going to do my best to make sure that nothing bad happens. So take that as a warning that if you work in any gas tanks that's had fuel in it, that you're at risk for whatever may happen. You will want to do or choose or whatever it is to minimize any sparks that could possibly have issues or cause problems for you. Also work in a well-ventilated area. So with that said, I'm going to put you down. I'm going to get some stuff together, get you guys set up, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, so the things I'm going to do, just use some grease. That way I can dip my drill bit in it, make sure that there's nothing hot or sparks or anything that will happen here. And that way we can get a hole punched in this. Then I'll use my step bit. And then we get a bigger hole put in it. All right, so we got our hole. And what I'm gonna do, grab my bucket, good old 5-gallon pail. So, as you can see, that is gas. And I know it's a little hard to see, but that's how much, that's all rust that came out of that tank. And you can see how bad that is. And that is actually a combination of dirt, rust, and whatever else has found its way into this fuel tank and whatever life it had or didn't have, because as you can see, it's pretty gross in there. Since that grossness is taken care of, now the next thing that I want to do is I want to cut the end of this thing off. So I'll finish cutting that up. Once I get it open, bring you guys back, and then we'll show you the inside. All right, so I got the old sending unit back in there, which goes down the side of the tank, which it should do. I got the hole put inside there. And now, a couple of things. One, you can really see how rusty and how bad a shape this tank is in. You can see where the sending unit, this is the filter, it's sitting on the bottom of the tank, which I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I'd prefer it not to be completely sitting on the bottom. I'd like to see that more flat across the bottom so that there's more fuel being picked up, because as it is right now, I mean, the fuel will get picked up, but it's only gonna be like from here up, so you don't get a whole lot. And then, if you look in the back here, with the light, so if you look in the back, you can see up here, that is my float. So you can see right now how, if you were to draw an imaginary line across there, you can see how much space is at the top of this thing. I'd say probably 3 inches. There's probably 3 inches sitting across the top there that it's not all the way up at. And then if we put it down, I mean, in the down position, it's not too bad. It's still a little higher than what I would like. So I mean, might just, I don't know if I can do it with this one. So what I'm gonna have to end up doing is I'm probably either gonna have to make a float or a sending unit, or like, and this is why, like I was talking about, like depending on the sending unit I get, I'm gonna have to try and make it work, because the sending unit that could be for this thing is not what I want to buy. So I got to find something similar, and I think I have one. So at this point, because I have the tank open, I'm going to let it dry out, get all the crap out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the sending unit that I think that may work for this. It will still most likely or probably need some tweaking or some changes on it, but I should be able to try and get it to work. It's a 3-line up here instead of a 4. I know on the 3 lines, or on the 4 lines, 1 is feed, 1 is return, 1 is vent, but I'm not sure what the 4th one would be for. The one I'm getting is a 3-line, which I know is feed, return, and just vent. So now that I have this open and ready, I'm going to order the sending unit. I think that'll work. Once I have it in my hands, we'll progress to part 2 of this, and making the sending unit work and getting it ready so that when I get my new tank, I can get it put in there. So for now, this part is done, and I will see you in part 2.